Nope. No fun intro. No snappy in your face coming at you. Um, I don't deserve it. I do not deserve it. Uh, a tie? A tie? Now, let's just be honest of what transpired here. If you haven't seen, uh, I had like a 14-point lead going into Monday Night Football. Kyle had Saquon Barkley. I had Kyle Pitts. And I was thinking, hey, as long as Kyle Pitts gets some, stuff here, I should be fine. Just give it to Kyle Pitts. And as the game's going on, it's pretty obvious. It's not going to go to Kyle Pitts. And Saquon Barkley, he didn't do what he did last week, 3 touchdowns, but he did enough, right? So as the night's going on and it's getting late, I'm like, yep, I'm going to lose. Then the Eagles score and go for the 2-point conversion, and boom, Kyle's winning. I'm like, ugh, all right, well, here comes the Falcons. Maybe we'll get one shot at Kyle Pitts. Maybe we'll get some runs. And nope, nothing happened. They punt it off, come back, and now the Eagles are marching down, and it's getting to field goal territory, and they get the first down after the 2-minute warning. And I'm like, I'm losing by 2. It's the 2 minutes up. I don't think there's any way I can win this game. So I'm like, click out. Then the next morning, I look at my phone and Eric shows the screenshot of a tie, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And then Kara's like, oh my God, there's a tie in the league, right? And I go back and look, and sure enough, somehow, Kyle Pitts got some extra points, and boom, we're tied. And then I find out that the Falcons win on top of it. And then I found out that Saquon Barkley dropped a touchdown in the end zone. So, as Eric likes to call it, that black JB fantasy football voodoo struck through. Sure, Grant didn't win, but at the same time, that was a loss I should have taken, and a tie is a victory to me, right? So, like, I get the victory. Kyle, on the other hand, is facing that's a tough tie because you had the victory. Now it was snatched away in like the last seconds here. So, surprisingly, this is not our first tie. Let's take a look at some other famous ties in our league. Here have been the 4 ties in the history of the league. Chris and Eric tied in our first year in 2009. JB and Travis quickly followed that up with a tie in 2010. Kara and Eric famously tied in the playoffs in 2018. I should mention that 2009 and 2010 were not fractional, so it was easier to tie. And then we followed up now, finally, JB and Kyle in 2024. It's been 14 years since a regular season tie. So there you go. Can't punish me. Granted, I have 2 of them now. But Eric has 2 too. So, I got to beat Eric. So everybody out there be prepared. I'm coming for one more tie eventually down the path. So this is the end of week 2, and this is kind of our first official checkpoint into the season. And that's where I've done years and years of research and kept data and statistics to show what it's like after 2 weeks. And I know sometimes, like, everyone's like, well, it's only 2 weeks and we play 14 games. So there's plenty of opportunity here. But statistics have shown that there is a trend that will kind of be shown. So if you're 0-2 now, it's not looking too good. I know, you could still come back, but the odds aren't there. If you're 2-0, you're setting up pretty well. You can't be just settled yet. You can't just not keep trying. But you're on the up and up. This year, we don't know what it's going to look like anymore because now we have 2 teams at 1-0-1. So we'll have a new dynamic going forward. So if you're not into numbers and you don't care, you might want to fast forward the next 5 minutes, all the pink screens. If you are into the nerd stuff and data and stuff, this next part is going to be for you, as we're going to show you what your odds are to of where you're sitting now to where you're going to be projected for the playoffs and stuff. So enjoy some fun with numbers. So the interesting thing here is that overall, out of 144 teams, 12 years, we have the perfect bell curve. 38 teams have started 0-2, 68 have gone 1-1, and 38 have started 2-0. Obviously, this is going to skew all now that we have a tie in there, so it'll look a lot different starting next year, but, perfect there, right? Oh, nice little curve. So we'll talk about the teams that get into the championship bracket. 0-2 teams, 11 teams have made it, making up 15%. 1-1 teams, 32 teams have made it, so it's 44. And out of the rest, 29 teams started off 2-0, making up 40% of all the brackets out of 72 teams. I know what everyone's saying, there's been more 1-1 teams than 2-0, but if you look at the overall, out of 68 teams, only 32 have made it. Out of 36 there, 29 have made it. So we look into the consolation bracket again, 72 teams. So you start 0-2, 27 of those teams have made it. That's 38% of the bracket there. 1-1, 36. So roughly 50% of those teams have been 1-1. And only 9 teams have seen themselves start 2-0 and find themselves in the consolation bracket. It's 13% of all those teams. Now let's break down into those champions, right? So only one team has ever started 0-2 and made it and won the championship. That is Kara in 2014. 5 of our champions have started 1-1, and 6 of our champions have started 2-0. So obviously, 0-2 is a very, very slim margin, as we'll see further down the road. Consolation bracket. 5 teams have each won, starting 0-2 and 1-1, so making up that 42%. 2 teams have started 2-0 and found themselves in the consolation championship to win. Charlie in 2013 and Kyle 10 years later in 2023. Obviously, again, 12 teams. Here's where you want to see the dumper, right? This is the one that we all try to avoid the most, but as you can see, it doesn't matter what you start, you still have a shot at it. 0-2 teams have won it 4 times, 33%. 1-1 teams 6 times at 50%. There have been 2 incidences where 2-0 teams have found themselves in the constellation bracket and found themselves winning the dumper. Katie in 2012 and Dana in 2021. So just because you're 2-0 now does not mean you're not immune to getting that dumper. So let's take a look. If you start 2-0, what are your odds, right? What does everything come down to? So to make the championship bracket, you have a 76% chance. And obviously the inverse there, consolation, is a 24% chance. So right now you're really set up really well to at least make it to the championship bracket. To win the championship, you have a 38% chance at any rate now. Consolation champion, just a 4%, and a win a dumper, you're sitting at 4%. So overall, highest chance to win the championship. So while it doesn't mean you're going to, 2-0 definitely sets you up very, very well. 1-1 teams. You have a 47% chance as you're sitting right now to make the championship bracket. Again, 53% to find yourself in the consolation bracket. You have the best chance right now of getting the dumper at 1-1, 26%. And then it works itself backwards. You have a 22% chance to win the consolation and just a 20% chance of winning the championship right now. So if you started 0-1, it was very, very, very important to get the win to go to 1-1 to kind of keep yourself sane there. Your 2-0 teams, you may not want to watch this right now. You only have a 29% chance of making the championship. Obviously a 71% consolation. You know, the quest is to get to 7 wins. And right now there's only 13 weeks left. You got to win 50% of them. That's a tough uphill battle. You have a 2% chance of winning the championship, so enjoy that. But you have a lower chance of getting the dumper 24 than the 1-1 teams, and you have the highest chance of winning the consolation. So take some solaces, because just because you're 0-2 doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get the dumper along the way. Hope you really enjoy that. This is, the normal stance that we'll always do on, throughout here. So lesson learned here, right? CMB, Dana, you've got the inside track. You're looking pretty good. You got more than a 3-1 odds to get to the playoffs there. So, Adam, Sam, Jay, Kara, Bob, and Meredith, getting that one win is very critical. It's better than it is not, right? So, it's Eric, Katie, and Travis, you're starting 0-2. You've got a long way to go, and it's going to get even tougher as you go down, because now you've set the ceiling to the bottom, right? And that's why the Stanczyks were in the dumper competition at the beginning of the year. If we watch the video, this is kind of playing right out, right? It caused it. Eric got an F in his grade, right? And this is causing it. And Kyle, you and I, we're in uncharted waters, right? We don't know what's going to happen with us. 0-1-0 is kind of like 2 wins, so it's kind of nice. It's better than being any kind of loss, because now, too, statistically, our tie counts as percentage points, which means that we have some tiebreakers now in our favor as it comes down further down the line. So, again, while it may feel like a loss to you, it's a win to me. But long term, we kind of put that half point percentage. It's like a 0.43, I believe, that it equates out to be that we get a little bit of a boost ahead of it. So, hey, who knows? We'll see. Before we end the video, as always, we do have some Jonathan call-outs, so get ready for this. Jonathan, take it away.
Dad and Kyle, you should have played. Dad, you should have played Carl and Kyle, Judy. One of you guys would have won.
So first of all, I still have this sitting there, so I think it's a good time, right? Ties deserve this, so that's what I'll be taking. A little housekeeping. Next week, I'm going to be at Universal Studios for our 10-year wedding anniversary. So no video. Maybe Sam and I will do a video on the Cat in the Hat or the Dr. Seuss Alphabet Ride. She's saying no. I can see her saying, get out of here. And then the following week, we're probably not going to do a video either. Again, 3 and 4, it's just redundant stuff. And sometimes less is more, right? Keep it fresh. Keep it vibrant. So I will see you after week 5, which I believe is like the 8th of October, I believe. So it's all right. Gotta do it to keep the soul fresh and the mind crisp. So, as always, it's dirty, it's shameful, but I'm happy I got the tie because I should have lost, so I'll take it. But as always, I'll see every one of you on the Fantasy Gridiron.